Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here in a beautiful hostel in the city in the east of Iran called Bam. And even though the Ayatollah, by giving me these two letters, has decreed that I'm still part of the youth in Europe, I do vividly remember hearing about Bam for the first time from the news of an earthquake. And in this earthquake, half of the population of this town perished. But now it looks very beautiful, and I'm going to explore the city and the famous citadel of Bam with you. So let's go. All around Iran you'll find pictures of young men along the road, and the city of Bam is no different. There's another one over there, and these are pictures of people who died, usually in the Iran-Iraq war, although there are a few pictures of victims of the other wars. They're called martyrs here. After the earthquake, the city of Bam has seen a great reconstruction project, and as a result it is much more planned than any other city we have found so far in Iran. In this part you can clearly see that everything was built at the same time, everything is the same style, roads are straight. That's very different from many of the other cities we've seen in Iran. This is the citadel, the famous citadel of Bam. There's been a citadel over here for 2,000 years, though most of the buildings here are newer, especially this gatehouse. Most of the citadel was also severely damaged in the earthquake here, and you can clearly see that this was recently restored in cooperation with Japanese universities apparently. Let's go inside and see. This first section too has been thoroughly restored. You can see the brand new mud buildings, and in the distance there you can see the keep of the citadel there on the hill. Oh, it's really a scorcher today, and here you can see a part that hasn't been so restored yet, still under construction. Still looks like a total ruin. This is what most of the city must have looked like after the earthquake, because most of the city was constructed of similar mud buildings, just like the citadel here. You can see there's almost nothing left. Seem to be really the only tourists right now in the citadel. I mean, who else would be crazy enough to go to the city of Bam as a tourist on one of the hottest days of the year, the second day of summer, one of the longest days of the year as well. So we can freely stroll all to the ruins of this citadel. No one else around. Oh, here we get back to one of the restored parts. I think this looks fairly new, fairly recent. I wonder what this was used for. If they've reconstructed it accurately according to how it was. But there's a restored mosque, and here is a colonnade of sandstone, sand brick pillars. I wonder if they still intend to build a roof over this, or are they just pillars for the sake of it. Over there on the left you can see one of the older pillars. I think this must have been a covered area, but they haven't gotten around to restoring it. They haven't gotten around to rebuilding these pillars over here yet. And over here a square. And this part over here seems to have been a ruined part as well, but they seem to have covered it with more mud, maybe to restore it from the elements, protect it from the rain. I mean, it doesn't rain this time of year, but they have 1 month here that it does rain. Maybe they covered these ruins With some extra layer of mud to protect them. Who knows? Looks very weird. These random shapes of mud. The ruins of a complete tragedy here. All of this, imagine all of this came down. Must have been seconds, completely. In the middle of the night while everyone was sleeping. Everything just completely collapsed here. I don't know if the citadel would have been inhabited at the time. I imagine it would have. I'm not sure. But this is what the aftermath looked like. You can see a few bars holding some structures up, but for the rest there's been no restoration in this part. Getting closer to the keep of the citadel, and it's really stunningly beautiful. This part you can see has had a lot of restoration work, and look at it, what a pretty and magical place. A beautiful sandcastle, the biggest sandcastle I've ever seen. It's so pretty, like a fairy tale, typical Middle Eastern fairy tale castle. Might expect Aladdin and Princess Jasmine to be running around somewhere here. Let's see if we can get into the keep of the citadel. Here we can see some of the restoration works still going on. 19 years after the earthquake happened, and they're really turning it into something very beautiful, I think. Here's the gate to the keep. You can see this part has been beautifully restored, whereas this part seems to have survived the earthquake actually. This big gatehouse must have been strong enough to withstand the tremors here. Be a bit of a walk up. You can see this part also pretty recent. Nice decorations here on this mud wall. There's one more beautifully restored section of wall and gatehouse to get across before we get to the highest point of the citadel of Bam that we can access. You can see there, up there, there's some higher sections of the citadel, but we can't get through there because they're still under construction. I mean, it is a citadel after all, designed to keep us out, and it's doing so successfully, at least for the highest parts. This part here, this courtyard, was part of a barracks in some point in history. Soldiers would have stayed in these little quarters waiting until they were needed, and it's also restored very beautifully. I really loved visiting the citadel. It's very beautiful, mysterious and fascinating. Both the restored parts give this fairy tale Middle Eastern vibe, as well as the ruined parts that show the tragedy that happened here. I hope you enjoyed my video. I loved visiting here in the citadel of Bam, and I hope to see you next time for my next video.